Right. I guess I think obviously you were the national champion in senior college, and I think you were on reserve national champion team. He was on a national champion team. Obviously, probably very similar in your thought process. But is there ever a time maybe you have judged together, or you've judged the show, or he's judged the show? You say, what were you thinking, or any differences of opinion maybe you might say that you care to share? Or
I don't think we've when he judges a show by himself. I don't know if I've ever been there to watch to tell him, and vice versa. But even in that, I guess.
Well, first of all, he's judging on a completely different level than I ever have. So, you know, it's really not even a comparison. But I feel like we see cattle almost identical, you know, personally. I don't know if you disagree with that.
No, that's the truth.
Right, for sure. Obviously, you had a pretty good teacher, I guess.
Yeah.
Does he hold it over your head that he
teachers.
won the title and you guys didn't?
Yeah,
No. We
we
won
really
it.
talk about it. We really don't talk about it.
No.
But I guess Kevin obviously got the chance to judge Fort Worth, as we said, a very elite club. Was that your favorite experience as a livestock judge? Is there another experience that maybe meant more to you that you care to maybe expound upon?
Well, I guess I really like working with young people, so that was the epitome of judging a steer show in the States. I've been fortunate enough through the Hereford business to go overseas, and that's been really a learning experience. When you see how the South Americans and Argentines and
Did you judge in Argentina?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and in New Zealand and Australia, it's amazing. There's differences, but yet there's still like forms, and I was amazed at the quality of the sheep in Australia. It's fun to go. I wasn't judging them, but I was looking at them, and so yeah, judging has been, I tell people, my relief valve. It's what we do in our family to get away from home for a bit. And I married my wife comes from a very diverse livestock and mainly beef cattle operation in Canada, and so our kids have kind of got it from both angles. So what we do for vacation and time is livestock, you know.
Right. I think you're getting ready to hit the road this weekend and judge a pretty big Angus show.
Yep.
But
yeah,
I think most people in this business say their jobs are hobby, you know, it almost has to be.
right. I guess the same sort of question for you, Christy. I got to see you judge Iowa Beef Expo, but any judging experiences or maybe events that you've been involved with that really stick out in your mind over your time in the business?
Oh, you know, there's been so many different ones, and as far as from the sales to, you know, just being involved with the people, and of course Iowa has a soft spot in my heart just because I have had so many friends there over the years and got started in those old barns. You know, up on the hill, we used to take pictures back there, and actually took Heat Waves picture up there, and so, you know, to get to come back and be asked by those folks to do that was surely a big honor. And of course, a lot of the sales, that just getting to know the people in the business is probably really the bright spot, and I'm sure down the road the people probably be what sticks with you more than anything. And had a lot of great friends in this business, and I'm just very thankful for that, I guess.
Right. I guess maybe that sort of brings a topic that I guess I might ask you. Pictured a lot of great ones. A lot of people are familiar with all your pictures. A lot of people say you sort of were the trendsetter and making the photos, sort
I
of.
think she used the term pioneer.
Pioneer.
For the rest of us, I think there's probably as big a pioneer in marketing sitting here as anybody that's ever walked. You know?
Right. I guess you mentioned Heat Wave. I remember, obviously, Bull's pretty synonymous with maybe being the greatest bull in the history of the club calf business. You got a chance to picture him. As far as all the cattle you've pictured, there's been so many great ones. Is there any that you remember maybe as being one that really sticks in your memory as being maybe one of the best you ever pictured?
Probably one of the reasons that I got, of course, Mark Squires at OSU, and him and Griswold, those two probably gave me the first chance to do anything, and I had a Hereford heifer that I pictured, and that was probably the first picture I ever took, and then I took a picture of Sugar Ray's brother. But probably the thing that really got me going and got me energized and got a good photograph out there to build my business on was Dean Kephart had a bull called Double Stuff, and he asked my brother Colby to come up and clip him on New Year's Eve one day, and I had never seen an animal with that kind of hair or built like that. And like Kevin said, it probably is type that's changed as much as anything. And he was just a cow changer or a freak, I guess. And in that picture, probably it was just something about it. It just worked that day, and just with the hair. And so, like I said, I've always, you know, it does take some talent and some background to do some of this, but I think just an animal like that, or some of the people I've been involved with, have given me a lot of opportunity. Just, you know, you see an image like that, it's not just because of the photo, it's because of the uniqueness of the cattle. And that was back when the magazines weren't slick, and they were still, you know, it was an old press, and you know, that things have changed so much. And that we did one of the first slick ads. In other words, it was shiny paper and color, and with that picture, and that would definitely be one of the most memorable pictures. And you know, I had a chance to do a lot of neat bulls, and work with a lot of great breeders, and so it's been a lot of fun. But that's probably the one I remember the most.
Certainly, and certainly that's a picture of a bull that's probably a lot of folks have seen over the years. A very, very unique bull. I guess Greg and Brig, I'd kick sort of the same question to you guys. Certainly been involved in the business a long time. Been around a lot of great animals. Certainly bred a lot of great ones. Purchased a lot of great ones. Maybe for you guys, what's maybe the most memorable animal that you guys have had the fortune to work with, or maybe the one that really means the most to you guys over your time in the business?
Wow, that's
Tough one.
a loaded question.
It was a loaded
Been
question.
a lot of them that's had an influence, and a lot of influence, you know, in our herd, and a lot of them in other people's herds as well. I guess it's kind of funny that she brought up double stuff. You know, probably the funnest one that I worked with, and again, keep it in perspective, it was a bull called Warhorse, and he was viewed pretty terminal at the time, and he isn't. And Christy took a picture of him too. He might have been the only one that had even a little bit more hair than double stuff. But I don't know that he was a better animal, but he was a lot of fun to work with. And we worked with Bill Cody. I bought him off the cow. We raised him with a friend in Oklahoma, and that whole cow family's been pretty influential in our deal and other herds. Hardcore, because that was, you know, goes back to that cow family, and you know, that's probably the club calf bull. And then Christy also took a picture of Hootie 9010, which is a bull we didn't raise, we purchased.
That would be another great.
He's been a lot of fun. It's kind of, the bull never really sold a lot of semen.
And he was the cornerstone of a lot of things, you know, he was the first hoodoo.
And I seen the other day that on an online auction, 3 straws of him brought $710 a straw for 9010, and he.
That would be one of the bulls that I was most excited about. Right after I took his picture, was the bull.
He's been very influential in our herd. Our heifer that won state fair this year was actually double bred to him. So. And then you can go on the Angus deal and
Hot Rod.
Yeah, probably Hot Rod and Rodman. Probably more partial to Rodman. He probably fits our program or what we're striving for even better than Hot Rod. But I'm very, very partial to Hot Rod as well, obviously. He's had more influence, definitely. So I don't know, Briggs.
I guess obviously those kind of based the originals or whatever, but and I guess more so than just the bull thing, it's like a lot of the females that them things go back to, like Warhorse went back to, and Hot Rod, and them things are cornerstones alone of a lot of our good genetics and a lot of good genetics across the nation. I guess obviously those would be probably the first 3 I'd mention. My first email address ever was warhorse_22, so 22 was my basketball number. Warhorse was my favorite bull of ours, you know.
What's your nickname, isn't it?
And
Warhorse.
I don't think so.
I think a new bull of ours that did a lot of good for us with, I guess, again, you say trends and adding, compacting and focusing on a kind of a steer, you know, a prospect steer, that still make a good fat steer and still have the quality in the hair. And we had a bull called Ring of Fire, and we didn't raise him. He was out of like an $800 open heifer we sold in their sale to some people in western Kansas, and they actually didn't even want the cow, because she got ringworm real bad through about February or whatever. About got her back, but essentially it was heat waving her that made that bull for us. And we never opened him up on the market, never got a whole lot of semen put up on him, just enough for insurance. We used him because he did such a good job for us, and we've had a lot of success with them steers out of that bull. So I guess of the more recent sires, that's what's done us a lot of good.
Probably one thing you don't know is we've collected 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
on,
yeah.
Right.
on our farm.
Right. I guess obviously you guys have been very, very influential to a lot of people my age. Obviously, Brig, your dad, I'm sure, has been a big influence on you. But for you guys, who were some of the big influences on you as you were coming up? Some folks that really maybe made a difference in your development in the business and maybe helped develop your mindset on how to be successful in the cattle business.
Well, that's really a loaded question.
Yeah.
There's so many people. When you're young, I think you realize it when you're older, that see the spark that you may have, and they'll help you cultivate that, and you may be 20 years down the road before you realize it. We were so lucky to be in the Hereford business when I was a kid, and we don't realize how big the Hereford business was then. It was very, very large. And so there was a vast amount of people that were involved in it that were great breeders of livestock. And I was so fortunate to have so many of them. And a lot of them are still helping me today. But the Rowlands and the Lewises, and the list could go on, the people that were helpful for us.
Right. I guess, Christy, anybody in particular? Obviously, there's probably so many, like Kevin said.
So many, I'd hate to even not mention, but you know, I went to OSU and got my first job was at the Oklahoma Cattlemen's, and had a lot of dreams of being around the purebred and the sales, and you know, Callahan was an influence for sure. I worked with Express for a long time, and really a lot of my advertising and ideas foundation would have come from Gerald, and he's a great marketer of purebred cattle. And of course, Kephart, we had a lot to do with him and founded a lot of our ideas as far as implementing the club calf business at home. And my parents have been a great influence, just great breeders and great cattlemen as far as just you know, having a good eye and knowing what a good cow is. And there's been a lot of people help me for sure, and I hate to mention anybody because if there's 2, there's a lot. You know, even Greg and Kevin here were influences of mine, you know, getting started, and Kevin watching him in the Hereford deal, and Greg helped me, gave me a chance to do some things, and so there's a lot of people, you know, that help all of us along the way.